Afrikaner in crisis. What the past says about their future. The Afrikaner people have a long and complex history, stretching back to the days of European settlement in South Africa. Their past is filled with struggle, survival, and adaptation, shaping a unique identity that has endured despite many challenges. Looking at their history, we can draw certain conclusions about what the future may hold. While some patterns suggest resilience, others hint at new struggles. The Afrikaners of today face economic, political, and social difficulties that could significantly shape their path forward. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. We appreciate your support. Let's continue. The story of the Afrikaners begins in the mid-1600s when Dutch settlers arrived at the Cape of Good Hope under the command of Jan van Riebeeck. These settlers, later joined by Germans and French Huguenots, formed a distinct identity over time, developing their own language, Afrikaans, and a culture rooted in agriculture, self-reliance, and Calvinist religious traditions. The Afrikaners, then known as Boers, expanded into the interior in search of independence from British colonial rule, leading to the Great Trek of the 1830s and 1840s. The Great Trek was a defining moment in Afrikaner history, embodying their deep desire for freedom and self-determination. Thousands of families left behind their homes in the Cape Colony, facing immense hardship in their journey across vast and dangerous landscapes. These Voortrekkers endured attacks from hostile forces, severe weather conditions, and the ever-present uncertainty of survival. Yet, driven by their faith and their belief in a God-given right to independence, they persevered. Their courage and sacrifice led to the establishment of the Boer republics, such as the Orange Free State and the Transvaal, where Afrikaners sought to build a society based on their values and traditions. The resilience displayed during the Great Trek continues to be a source of inspiration for many Afrikaners today, reinforcing their identity as a people who refuse to be subdued by adversity. Faith has played a central role in Afrikaner perseverance. Rooted in Calvinism, their religious beliefs shaped their worldview and gave them a sense of divine purpose, often seeing their struggles as part of a greater plan. This belief in predestination and divine favor strengthened their determination during hardships, from British colonial oppression to the trials of war and economic downturns. The Afrikaner churches, particularly the Dutch Reformed Church, provided not only spiritual guidance but also a communal bond that united them through their most difficult times. Even today, faith remains a cornerstone of Afrikaner culture, providing hope and resilience in a changing and often challenging South Africa. However, their aspirations for autonomy were soon challenged. The discovery of diamonds and gold in the late 19th century made their territories valuable, leading to conflict with the British Empire. The Anglo-Boer Wars, 1880 to 1881, 1899 to 1902, were defining moments in Afrikaner history. The British defeated the Boers, using brutal tactics such as the implementation of concentration camps, where many Afrikaner women and children perished. This period of suffering deepened the Afrikaner nationalist spirit, eventually leading to the formation of the National Party and the implementation of apartheid in 1948. Apartheid, the system of racial segregation that defined South Africa for nearly 5 decades, was both a period of Afrikaner political dominance and moral decline. Under this system, Afrikaners controlled the state, implementing laws that marginalized non-white South Africans. Economic policies benefited Afrikaners, solidifying their position in industry, government, and agriculture. However, internal and external pressures mounted against apartheid, with international sanctions, resistance from the oppressed majority, and economic stagnation forcing change. By 1994, Nelson Mandela's election and the dismantling of apartheid marked a turning point, leaving Afrikaners to navigate a new political and economic reality. Post-apartheid South Africa has been challenging for many Afrikaners. Political power shifted away from them, and affirmative action policies placed Afrikaner workers and businesses at a disadvantage in a rapidly transforming economy. many Afrikaners left the country in search of better opportunities abroad, while others struggled with unemployment and poverty. Farms, once the backbone of Afrikaner economic strength, became targets of land reform policies and violent crime. The idea of Afrikaner cultural identity has also been questioned, as new generations either integrate into the broader South African identity or seek ways to preserve their traditions in a changing society. Looking at their past, what does the future hold for Afrikaners? History suggests they are adaptable and resilient, but their future will depend on several key factors. Politically, Afrikaners remain a minority, and with current policies favoring majority rule, their influence in government is unlikely to return. However, Afrikaners have historically found ways to influence South African society through business, agriculture, and academia. If they focus on economic strength rather than political power, they may carve out a sustainable future. Culturally, the Afrikaner identity faces a crossroads. Some communities have embraced multiculturalism, integrating with the broader South African identity, while others have sought isolation, forming self-sufficient enclaves such as Orania. The survival of their language and traditions will depend on their willingness to adapt without losing their core values. Technology and globalization also play a role, allowing Afrikaners to connect with others worldwide, ensuring that their culture is not entirely dependent on South Africa's political landscape. Faith will likely continue to play an important role in the survival of Afrikaner identity. Despite declining church attendance among younger generations, many Afrikaners still find strength in their religious beliefs, which provide a moral framework and a sense of community. The church has historically been a guiding force during crises, and in uncertain times, it may once again become a rallying point for Afrikaners seeking stability and direction. One of the greatest concerns for Afrikaners is safety and economic security. With farm attacks, economic decline, and job losses, many Afrikaners feel under siege in the country their ancestors built. Some argue that historical patterns suggest a potential exodus, much like the migrations of the past. Others believe Afrikaners will dig in their heels, as they have done before, finding ways to thrive despite adversity. The future of the Afrikaners is uncertain, but history tells us they are a people who survive. Their past has been filled with struggle, and their future will likely be no different. However, whether they continue to flourish or fade into the background depends on their ability to adapt, innovate, and redefine their place in a changing South Africa. Time will tell whether they will embrace a new role or resist until the next great shift occurs. What is certain is that their story is far from over. Thank you for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel.